Hey, everybody. Welcome. It's Don't
Hey,
Worry Wednesday. I catch Ryan
that's right.
off guard
You
with
made
my
it.
countdowns. There's no countdown.
There was no countdown this time, but that's fine.
Nope. Nope.
It's like waking up in the morning,
It
you know?
is. There's no
It's like
countdown
waking
to
up in the
waking up
morning.
in the morning. It's
There's
just
no
all of a
countdown.
sudden,
You just start and you're
boom.
just like, boom, here I am. Yep. I like it. I like it.
Yep, that's awesome. Well, anyway,
I
welcome.
don't mind that.
You don't mind that? You probably, when was the last time you woke up with an alarm clock? Actually, you
Earlier
probably
today.
set alarms for your naps and stuff, don't you?
Yeah, actually, because I was up because I was up until 1 p.m. I took a nap until 5 p.m. And got up before the stream
All
today.
right.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I was getting a lot of stuff done though. I mean, I was getting lots of music done. You know, when you're inspired, you can just keep going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And man, I got this song. It's cooking. It is just, it's jamming. It's like one of those where there's this section in the song. It's like 2 measures long,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got all of these unique chords going on in it
Mm-hmm.
that progress upwards. And while something else goes downwards, and another thing goes downwards in a different way, and another thing goes upwards in a different way, and it like is the weirdest sounding but coolest chord thing going on ever. And I love it, and I just like listen to it over and over on loop. Like, and it's not even the beginning. It's funny because it's like you have like 3 measures of chorus, and then this is like right here in the chorus, and that's just the part that I really really like. And
Ah.
then the chorus continues for another like 5 measures, but yeah, I don't know. I was just jamming to it, you know. So
Nice. I like it when you get in the zone writing music
yeah.
because then I know I'm going to have something really cool to listen to in the near future.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
This one's got, for me, this one was very difficult. It's the first episode of Criminal Idol. Well, it was going to be. We'll see. Um, but it was going to be the first episode of season 2 of Criminal Idol, but now it's kind of up in the air where it's going to happen. But
Mm-hmm.
regardless, yeah, this one was giving me a lot of trouble, and I couldn't figure out what to do with it. And then I got like a spark of inspiration, and then it was blank again. And so like for like 2 months, I have nothing, and then all of a sudden, boom, I've got this idea, and I'm like, sweet, I can run with something. And so then I'm hopping right into it. That's how it goes
Nice.
sometimes.
Nice. That's awesome. I can't
Yeah,
wait to hear it.
yeah.
Hopefully, I get to hear it.
Me too.
Hopefully, you get to hear it. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're writing
hope
it.
I
I'm
hope I
sure
do.
you'll be the first to hear it.
Yeah, hopefully, hopefully.
Yes. Well, anyway, guys, welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. This is a show where we handle any issues, challenges, or topics that you might have. You can feel free to post them in the chat. It's Wednesday. You're not allowed to worry. If you are worried, you can talk to us about it. We'll fix it. We'll fix it together. Um, so yeah, this is it's a great time. We are not professional therapists, counselors, or football players, or policemen, or lawyers, or anything like that, or CIA agents. But we do want to be your friend, and we want to help in any way we possibly can, and that's the whole point. Like, we understand that most of the time you guys are probably smart enough to figure all these things out on your own. It's just nice to have somebody around that will love you and encourage you, and maybe if there's a perspective that's outside your own, because when we're in the middle of a situation, we're emotionally connected to it, and sometimes it takes an
Mhm.
unemotional perspective to look at it. I learned this again this week because I started reading the book. What is it? The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday, and he goes through a whole bunch of different Stoic philosophy, which is pretty cool stuff.
Mm.
But yeah, so and it's like
Stoicism.
emotion is great, and it can really help us to feel what's going on in the world, but it can be a really bad guide, you know, if it's left untempered. So like when we're in the middle of an emotional situation, it can be really tough to make a clear decision. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm Joe. Princess is our chat room hostess, and she is keeping us on track and letting us know when we're off track and making sure we stay on track. And the star of the show is you guys. And with me is Ryan. He's up there.
That's right.
How you doing, Ryan?
Hey guys. Great. How you doing? Okay.
You caught me
Sounds
right
good
in the
to
middle. I was
me.
like, how you doing? And I'm like, this is my time to take a drink of water.
Yeah, you're
Nope,
like you're gonna
it's
ask
not.
me how I'm doing, and then you're like, yeah. Well, let me toss you something to ponder for a moment. What color's your hair?
My hair?
Oh, that was quicker than I expected.
According to
None.
according to the Black Static and Swerve wiki,
Invisible.
it's blonde.
Really?
Yes. That's
What?
according to the
How?
fan wiki, my hair is blonde. I don't know, because my
That's
hair
not accurate. Yeah, it's peach, also known as white.
also known as
So I don't understand
Yeah.
why we call our skin white. Like, yes, I am very pale, but clearly that's not the color. Like, if I do that, it does start to turn white. But this is not the color white. This is the color peach or tan.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
interesting.
we shouldn't be so racist against white people. I mean tan / peach people. Dang it, even I'm doing it.
Nice. Oh, thank you, Haley.
Hey,
Haley
Whitey, I
says
prefer peach.
Haley says my hair constantly changes color based upon outfits. It does. Yep. But now it's getting warmer
yeah,
out.
that's true.
My hair doesn't change color so much. It's going to stay this way. It might get a little bit tanner, and some days it might be like beet red, depending on, how much time I've had to spend outside. Should give me a blue wig. Yes. That would be great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I just read a quote that was on Static P Friends, and it said something like, I had talked to you and said, oh, I thought you dyed your scalp blue. And it was in reference to you wearing a blue hat.
Oh.
And then everyone was saying you had blue hair.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Princess. Princess posted a link to the fan wiki. The 5th Star Blush girl.
Cool, thank you.
I'm the 5th Star Blush girl. Actually, Cole is the 5th Star Blush girl.
Yeah, okay, sure. We'll give it to him.
Well, he is, right?
Yeah, I guess
this
so.
club needs 5 members.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't become like if you're the manager or the songwriter of an idol group, you aren't one of the idols, though.
So. Yeah, but you're just as critical.
But you're still part of Team Starblush Girls.
You are Team Starblush.
Yeah, you're still part of the team. You're just not one of the girls.
That's my gang symbol, Starblush.
That's your gang symbol? Starblush Girls.
Starblush Girls. Yep.
What up? That's real threatening.
Make sure you can get Rainy to draw something like that. Yeah. Starblush Girls need a gang symbol.
Yeah, they do. They certainly do. I mean, they have to deal with some bad people, and they can run in and just be like, show their gang sign, and everyone will leave them alone.
Yeah.
Like, oh, whoa, those girls, they mean business.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see their gang sign? Took 2 hands. That's how you know it's big.
That's it. Yeah,
it's a big deal. Not just one hand thing,
It is a big
Whatever.
deal. Meow Lido has a question.
Ain't no Spock.
Ryan, is the part about
Meow
the
Lido,
village fire?
by the way, no.
Okay.
No. It was not inspired by the fire in my house, but it was inspired by different anime and stuff like that, because they have fires in actually probably more so like a video game. Because video games, like, I remember I used to play a lot of RPGs, and then one way that they would start you out on your journey is to burn your village down, because hey, I mean, then you got nowhere to go back to, so you might as well go on an adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's right. And if it's Minecraft, you start off your adventure by punching a tree until a chunk of it comes out.
Yeah. That's right. And at the end of your adventure, you set fires to everything.
You see? Oh,
backwards.
jeez. That's right. So anyway, what do you think? Should we start this show, do you think?
I think we should.
All right. Well, let's do that. So we've got some topics, and we got some folks that are here. So I'm going to just read off a list of names, and we'll see if you hear your name, let us know that you're here. We do have an anonymous one, and I'm pretty sure our anonymous member is listening in today. So we would also be able to do that. But anyway, I will go through the names. Sevlev, SK, Awkward, Pika, Jesse, Khan Vulcan, Random, Ian Lamb, Helmarock Hero, Pear, Anonymous, and Baka. And Anonymous, you don't have to say, I'm here, because, yeah.
Vana V actually has it correct. Box is the 5th Starblush girl.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
To be sure.
So if it were French, it would be La Box rather than Le Box.
That's right.
Could be, yeah. Although
it'd be a feminine box.
And in Spanish, it wouldn't be boxo. It would be boxa.
Boxa.
That's right.
All right. You guys in your languages that I don't understand.
Moving on.
Yes. Box apparently is a disciplinary item. We learned last night at the Criminal Idol Season 2 meeting.
Yes. Yes, we learned that last night. It's when Keiko or any of the other two get out of hand, B sends them to the box because B is the mom.
B is the mom.
B's like, Keiko, you're getting a little crazy. You've been boxed.
Yep. And so the first time we see Box, Haruka and Keiko are in the box together. They both had been boxed.
Mm-hmm.
And then
2 troublemakers.
Yep. And then later in the series, Aoki has the box on her head. Yep. So you'll notice B never gets.
Mm-hmm.
B's never in the box.
Yeah, she never gets the box.
Because she's always
the treatment. You know?
She sends people to the box. That's what happens.
That's right. To calm down.
Right.
It's like the corner.
Yes. So, all right.
It's like cardboard jail.
You go stay there. Does Meteor get boxed? You know, that's a good question. You might have to wait till season 2.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll send that suggestion to the script writers, of which one of them is here.
That's accurate.
Yes. So
cool.
All
so
right.
Who do we have with us?
Well, I think I saw Baka. Maybe not. I know we have Anonymous here. I have confirmation.
I'm pretty sure Baka's in here.
Yeah, maybe I don't see Baka in here.
I know that Vana V.
Okay.
Vana V talked to Baka, but I don't actually see Baka in here.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's start with the anonymous one then.
Okay, let's start with the anonymous.
Go from there. What do you say? What do you say, anonymous koala?
Sounds great. Am I a koala this time?
Actually, on the spreadsheet, somebody's a koala. So we have a
You're the penguin, though.
koala
that's
and
princess.
a penguin.
Princess,
you're the koala.
Koala, kawaii.
That's right. Kawara. Kawaii.
Perfect. There's the link. Yes. Look at that.
Awesome.
Thanks
for being patient with us, everybody in the chat, and humoring our silliness.
Yeah, we love you guys. So, yeah, there's the topic. You can click on it and read along while Princess reads it.
Yep, make sure to
Yeah.
pick on Joe's link.
Click on Princess's link.
Oh, I thought you said pick on.
You can pick on
I
my
did
link.
say pick
You can
on.
pick on it all you
Oh,
want.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
all right.
Okay,
good.
Okay, good. Yeah, make sure you point fingers at and make fun of Joe's link. Not Joe, but his link.
It was a combination of pick and click on
Yes.
that turned into pick
Oh,
on.
okay. Pick on.
Anyway,
That works for me.
body issues by Anonymous. So recently, I put up 2 devilish images in my head: Ryan bread and a cup of Joe. I've never drank coffee before, but I don't like the rye bread anymore. This is normal, right? But okay,
Wow.
now on to the thing.
Puns.
All right, I've talked about some serious mental issues, personality issues, and now body issues. These are more common than they should be. I always hate going outside into a public area because, one, well, I can't talk to people 100 times if it's face to face, and 2, because I feel like there are hundreds of pairs of eyes staring at me. I mean, I walk outside the house with my hair looking like a cat in a car accident, but it could also be the fact that I'm abnormally large for a teen. I hate being this size. It makes it so that I'm not very physically capable. I'm judged quite a bit, or at least I was before moving down to the land of Florida, man. And my back hurts all the time. Nobody wins here. Absolutely nobody. I've started going to tennis, trying to eat healthier, emphasis on trying. And over the course of a few years, I've tried several diets and exercises, but nothing seems to work. I'm almost on the brink of giving up and having a sore back for all eternity. I mean, I'm still going to go to tennis because that's pretty fun, but I'm going to boil the 15 pasta boxes that we have, and none of you can stop me. Thanks for reading from Anonymous.
Wow. Thank you so much for the topic,
Nice.
Anonymous. This is not necessarily an easy thing to talk about. But I love how you've woven your humor in through this post.
Me too.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're able to, look at a situation that's causing you some trouble in your mind, but you still can maintain some humor about it, which I think is awesome. Because sometimes, our problems, they get a little bit smaller if we can laugh at them a little bit. It takes the edge off a little bit if we can just laugh at them and be like, yeah, I know. Even though it's still fairly painful. So I'm proud of you for that. I'm proud of you for being able to still have a sense of humor while you go through this issue. So there are a lot of things you can do. Sometimes before you start anything, it might be good to talk to a doctor because if there's some kind of back issue, there might be an injury somewhere that you may not be aware of. So it might be good to just make sure that's all good before you start any type of rigorous exercise program. But I think it's great that you're playing tennis and you're at least being conscientious of what you're eating. That will take you a long way, and it's all kind of a process. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan and see what he has to say. So, Ryan, take it away.
Yeah, thanks for this question, Anonymous. I've been fortunate enough never to have to worry too much about my weight. Been very blessed that it just doesn't build on me.
You do need to.
The other
worry
side of
about
that,
it
though,
'cause
is that I'm
you're
always cold.
underweight.
Yeah, I'm always cold. So that's not fun. But other than that, it's I've been very blessed. I would say this though, as Joe was pointing out, I think it might be really important to go see a doctor, not just for your back, but also that. I knew a friend who tried many things, and no matter what they tried, they worked hard to get their weight down, and they couldn't. They tried exercising, they limited the things they ate, they stopped eating altogether, like for periods of days, and nothing was changing. and they couldn't figure it out. And so after years of this, they went to a doctor and they said, "Oh, yeah, you just got a thyroid problem. Here, take this medication," and then it fixed everything. Then their exercising actually started to work. The eating habits started to actually pay off. And so what I would say is definitely go to a doctor. They might be able to pinpoint what's causing the, like, because even if it isn't a thyroid problem or some other problem, right? There's certain problems that only females get, certain problems that only males get, because of hormones or because of just different ways that our bodies work. But go to a doctor because they should be able to better pinpoint the exact area of why you are gaining weight. And it might be food intake. They might give you that as the answer, but then that's awesome because then you know what it is. And you can start working towards that specific thing with a focus, right? It might be something, it might just be exercise, right? But it seems like you're getting quite a bit of work in, cardio and things like that. Tennis is not easy. It's not light on the physical, on the body. It takes a lot of exercise, a lot of movement. So, yeah, I would go to the doctor and see what they might have to say. Let them try to figure it out. And with any luck, you'll get your answer, and you can then just start really effectively getting off some of that weight, whether it's burning it or just fixing a chemical imbalance problem, or whatever it could be. Growing up, I had no idea that you could be fat just because, or overweight. I guess that's a more kind way to say it. Overweight just because of a chemical imbalance in your body, or because of, any sort of thing. Hormones and stuff like that can actually play a part into it as well. And our bodies digest things differently. Some people, their body doesn't work through food the same way, and so it can be different for everybody. So that's why I think you should go see a doctor and see what they have to say. That's my best advice. And that's advice coming from people who I personally know who have gone to see doctors, found out, oh, you have a thyroid problem, or yeah, you need to work in this eating category, right? So it's not my personal experience, but it's the experience of a couple of people I know. So that wasn't very long, but that's what I got, at least to start out with. And then I'll talk about the the public image after, but I'm gonna send it over to Joe and see what he's got to say.
Well, thanks, Ryan. And you're absolutely right. Yep. Step one would be to go visit a doctor and just make sure that there's nothing else going on, right? Because you can get any exercise program or any diet program or anything that has been found to be effective for somebody. And if there's some kind of chemical issue going on, like Ryan was talking about, I had a friend who it wasn't. I was in a band with these two guys, and it was so funny because I was like 20 years younger than both of them. Ryan remembers this band. They were awesome, but awesome. The bass player, he was like a ball of energy, total energetic guy, right? And just crazy, and danced all over the place, and was total vegetarian, right? His philosophy is, if it poops, I don't eat it. Like, that's his whole thing.
That's awesome.
So he would eat eggs.
Although you can't get around eating bacteria, and technically they fart.
That's
and poop.
That's true. So, but anyway, he had his diet was really healthy. And he got a lot of exercise, because we were gigging all the time. And he was an active guy. And the dude was just round. Absolutely round. His legs were sticks, right? Toothpick legs. And then once you got to his waist, it was just like, whoom, round. And it's just the way he was built. It was pretty wild. But it turned out that it wasn't a thyroid issue for him. It was like a pituitary gland thing. There was something going on with his pituitary gland that was causing him to not be able to. And once he got that addressed, it was like it kind of melted off him. He just kept doing what he was doing, and now he's lost a ton of weight, and it was just, something that needed to be kind of tweaked in there. So there are things that can cause it. Now, if it turns out that you're fine with all that and your chemical imbalance and everything, like Ryan was saying, that's awesome. It's not a time to beat yourself up. It's not a time to say, oh, well, it's my fault and it's because I've been living a certain way. Okay, no. It's time to be like, all right, cool. Now I don't have restrictions. And that's one of the big things to start any exercise program. It's nice to know you don't have some kind of injury that will limit you, I guess, right? So now you can start doing things. If you're having a back issue, I'll tell you, even in a lot of athletics, a lot of sports, and a lot of bodybuilders even, they neglect their back muscles a lot. And it causes all kind of back problems, causes all kinds of shoulder problems. I was a swimmer, and swimmers get this problem with our shoulders because we swim all the time, right? And so we end up with strong front of your shoulders and strong chest muscles and all this stuff, right? You get a lot of strength there, but it ends up not strengthening your back. And so all this extra muscle mass pulls everything forward, and you end up like hunched over.
You can see they arch.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so, and you start getting impingements, tendons getting pinched in your shoulders. And so it can turn into lots of issues, and it happens with a lot of different sports. And like I said, also with bodybuilders and people who just generally work out. We don't think about exercising our back muscles. And so some simple things you can do, if you lie on your stomach and just lie down flat on your stomach, and then just lift up your arms and your legs like this, and do that some. That's an exercise called Superman's, and I've found those to be so effective. Another thing is, like, if you lift up off the floor and then kind of just bend your arms back like this, and then back up, and then back down on the floor, and then up. So you do stuff like that. You don't have any weights, but what you're doing is you're stretching, and you're also strengthening those muscles. And you'll see a few things happen by doing exercises of that nature, where I do a lot of back exercises where I just am lying on the floor and I'm doing different things like that, where I'm either lifting up my arms, or I do these things called butterflies, where I kind of just like touch the floor above my head here, and then touch the floor down at my waist, and then continue like back and forth like this. Stuff like that. It really helps to just strengthen those muscles, and you'll find a lot of your back pain starts to go away. You'll find yourself standing up straighter. You'll find yourself, like just kind of naturally. One way to tell if your back muscles aren't very strong is if when you stand, do your hands are the tops of your hands pointed forward? Because if they are, then what that means is you're getting kind of that swimmer thing where your shoulders are kind of rolled forward. So if you stand normally and your hands are like this, like so they're parallel with your legs like that, I guess, then that's a really good sign. And you want to and to just think about going through your day with your hands at your sides like that. It kind of forces you to roll your shoulders back and have proper posture. So it's an interesting thing. We live in a time where people are sedentary. We sit a lot. You know, we sit at computers and work. You know, a lot of times our jobs require us to spend a lot of time in front of a computer or whatever, and so it can be really hard to be in shape. We have to, you know, centuries ago, we didn't have to have gyms or workout programs or anything like that, you know, because a big part of our life was just being active, being out and active and everything like that, right? And now our work is more, you know, confined. And a lot of times, you know, especially if you work in an office, you're sitting for a long period of time. You know, there's all kinds of things. I am a property inspector in my day job, and so I sit in my car all day. And so now I have a workout program that's basically, it's less than 25 minutes a day. Because one of the things, if you're going to change a weight issue and it's not a chemical thing, like Ryan was talking about, if it's a diet and exercise issue, then in order to maintain that, it's a lifestyle change. It really is. Like, a lot of times people will be like, I'm going on a diet. And I'm like, man, I hate that word, because just that thought process thinks I'm going to do something for a set period of time and then I'm going to stop it. And that can't be the way it is. So I recommend to anybody, start gradual. You're doing great. You're playing tennis. That's awesome. Keep doing that. Keep playing tennis. You know, changes to your diet. You love pasta, it looks like. Pasta's fine. You just maybe don't want to eat 15 boxes of it at once. Like it said in the post.
15, yeah, maybe 14.
15 pasta boxes.
Save one for the next day, I guess.
Yeah, you could do that. But one of the key things that most people can start doing right away as a step forward is limit the amount of sugar you eat. Just start with that. Because one of the reasons we store fat on our bodies, one of the reasons our bodies does that is when we have high blood sugar, insulin in our body kicks in and converts that extra blood sugar into fat stores. And it does that to get us ready for times when we're not going to have much food. So it's storing this up for, you know, in preparation for times when we might not have food readily available. Except now, you know, we live in a time when food is pretty much readily available all the time. So, but anytime we have raised blood sugar, the insulin will start to store fat on our body. And so the more we can limit having high blood sugar, the better off we are as far as then consuming those fat stores instead of adding to them, if that makes sense. So those are just a couple things that you can start doing. And limiting sugar, I don't think you need to have a doctor's permission for. You could start that now. And just, I wouldn't even say, I think I told a friend one time as we were kind of moving in this direction, he was like, what can I do to start? I'm like, just pay attention to how much sugar you consume. He liked Mountain Dew. So there's quite a bit of sugar in Mountain Dew. So it's like, okay, so instead of
That's
like
very sugary.
7 Mountain Dews, have 6. You know, or whatever, right? And just start to kind of scale it back. But the reason I say do it gradually is because in order to get to that point, it's going to have to be a change in your lifestyle. And to make some kind of drastic change is really uncomfortable. and we generally won't stick with it. So small gradual changes, give yourself some time, give yourself some grace while you go through this process, because it'll be a process. But it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible, and it can be predictable as long as the chemical things in your body are all good and everything. We just got to figure out what works best for your body type, and what kind of foods work best with your body, and what kinds of exercise program works best for your body. But to be active is great, and then to watch what you're eating is great. But anyway, that's pretty much what I've got. Ryan, did you have anything else?
Yeah. Yeah. And, right on that level of, or right on the topic of sugar, I just want you to think about something real quick. When you eat stuff, right, it goes through your intestines, right? And then your intestines are what absorb all of the nutrients, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have enzymes, which is a type of fungus, and you have bacteria, and then you have acid, and you have mucus, all in your intestines, and all of them help to work to take that stuff, dissolve it, and then put it into your bloodstream. Okay? You put sugar in water, what happens?
Dissolves.
It dissolves. Boom, gone. When you put sugar in your body, it is the first thing to get absorbed, other than water. Water is the first thing to get absorbed by your intestines because it's already a liquid, it's thin. It doesn't necessarily need to dissolve. But sugar is one of the very first things that will dissolve, sugar and salt. And that's why we tend to have sugar and salt problems in America and most of the rest of the world.
Mm.
It's because when you eat food, right? What happens? You eat food. Let's say you eat more food 4 hours later. Okay? Your digestive system isn't finished dissolving everything that's in there that you ate before. It's only been 4 hours. And so when you start to consume more food, your body starts to flush all that other stuff out because it's like, ooh, new food. I have to make room for it. So here comes new food. Let's flush all that other stuff out. I wasn't done absorbing it, but I got the first stuff out of it, like what? The sugars and the water, the salts, the easy to dissolve stuff. And then you're adding new food, right? And so now it's going to work on the new food. Your best results for eating food are while you're sleeping.
Mm.
Because then you're giving your body at least 8, usually more, hours of digesting, right? And then it has the time to act for the acids and all of the little organisms and stuff that live inside of us to effectively digest, break down all that matter, and get it into your bloodstream. And so I'm not saying stop eating as much food, but science tells us and reason tells us that if you don't have like an issue with a certain part of your body, like a thyroid or a thing that Joe was talking about earlier, I forget what it's called.
Pituitary.
One of your glands. Thank you. If something's not off, then usually the reason for your weight is because of your digestion, the digestion process. So make sure you're giving your food the time it needs to digest. You think about this. Take lettuce and put it into water, right? That stuff's fine. That's lettuce. People put lettuce in water to keep it preserved.
Mm.
All right. Yeah.
You can grow
Take
lettuce in water.
Put it in a bunch of, put it in like acid. It still takes a long time. You could take lettuce and put it in battery acid, which is similar to our digestive, like the pH level, right?
That doesn't
It's
mean
not the
you
same
should,
chemical makeup, but it's similar.
That doesn't mean you should
don't
eat batteries.
Don't eat batteries. It's very, very poisonous.
Yes.
But you take lettuce, right, and you put it in some acid. Watch how long it takes. It's not 4 hours. It's much more. So if you think you're going to lose weight by eating a salad, you're not. If you're going to eat again in 4 hours and take that salad and throw it out before it was fully digested, because like I said, the first thing that it can eat through is all the sugars. So the acid starts to work at that lettuce, and all of a sudden it's pulling out all the sugars and all the salts and all the easy to grab minerals and stuff. And that's the stuff that kind of makes us bigger. You know, that's the stuff our body needs for energy, but it's also the stuff that makes us large, right? So my ultimate point is, while society will tell you, and I'm not a doctor, so talk to your doctors, but society will tell you, and doctors will probably tell you, eat 3 times a day. Not if you want to, not if you want to be healthy. Not if you are eating lettuce or things that are meant to take long to digest. And you notice, like, sure, maybe eat 3 meals a day if you recognize that your body doesn't just push all of it out, right? If it's light meals, right? Eat 3 light meals, that's okay. But if you're eating 3 dinners, like if you know what I'm saying? Like, you're kind of wasting your food at that point. You're just turning it into mush and then getting rid of it and not absorbing everything that you should out of it. Anyhow, all of that is to say, society can be wrong about what they say about how much you should eat a day. Think more scientifically about it than tradition tells us. And if you want to go back, like I said before, the Romans ate 1 meal a day, and they survived, no problem. They weren't hurting. In fact, you look at the Romans, you look at all their statues, there's like 0 fat people.
Well, some of the kings were.
There you go. Yeah. Society is always wrong, Ryan. We knew this. Well, they're not wrong in everything. Yeah, they breathe oxygen. That's pretty healthy for you. So anyhow, that's where I'm gonna stop there, and I'm gonna go to the other issue, and that is kind of your self-image, how you look at yourself, and how you feel in public, right? No one, pretty much everybody suffers from the feeling of being looked at and discussed with themselves when they're out in public and they don't like the way they look, right? If you don't like the way you look and you go out into public, almost everybody feels bad. Like, they feel like everybody's looking at them and they want to hide and they don't want to talk to anybody at all. They don't want to meet eyes with anybody, right? I'm going to suggest do the opposite of what you feel. What I'm suggesting is, when you go into public, look at people in the eyes. Look at people right in the eyes, and when you talk to them. It's hard. It's hard at first. But if you get used to it, you will see your own confidence level go up. You will feel like you're more attractive. Because when you meet eyes with another person, eventually they're going to start looking back. And their eyes going to meet yours. And you realize you're just as acceptable as they are. If you're able to make eye contact with a person, even if they don't look at you, right? You recognize this person has flaws. But I don't have to. I can see right past all of it when I look into their eyes, when I look into their personality, because here's the thing. I am this dude with long blonde hair. People will think immediately that I'm a druggie or I'm a hippie, all right? But you know how I break that barrier down? I go up and talk to them. That's it. I go up, I talk to them, and I look them in the eyes, and I say, hey, I smile. I say, hey, how's it going? And where it goes from there is always good, pretty much. Look people in the eye, clocked out. I understand. I told you. Yeah, it's hard for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So, when if you're able, Anonymous, to go outside, maybe it's your friends. Maybe start looking your friends in the eyes first. You know, start there. Maybe it's your parents. Start looking them in the eyes. But eventually, I want you to be able to go and meet people that you've never met before. And that's where I would start, honestly, because that's easiest to me. People you never met before. There's no expectations there. You can be whoever you want. And just look them in the eye. And also, like, I think that, I don't know, actually, I'm just going to say that's all my advice, because that solves a lot.
Mm.
It solves a lot. If you're afraid of what you look like to others, just look people in the eye and you'll find out what you look like to others doesn't matter.
Mm.
Because remember, what the most important thing in dealing with people is not what you look like to them. It's what they look like to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's how they feel about themselves. Remember, maybe you don't have this problem, but if you have a hard time looking people in the eye, right? It's because you don't like yourself. It's not that you don't like them. It's that you don't want them to see you.
Mm.
Right? That's why you don't look people in the eye, because you don't want them to see you. You don't want them to see who you really are because you're afraid they're not going to like it. Mm. Right? If that's you, I don't know. I've just met a lot of people who are that way, and I know because I was that way for a really long time. And so I'm able to notice it when it's in other people. And every once in a while, I still have to correct myself on that. Every once in a while, I'll notice myself looking away, and I'm like, Ryan, you've got nothing to be ashamed of. Just look them in the eye and talk to them. A lot of times when we want to avoid a conversation, avoid a certain person, whatever, we look away. But it's silly to do that. Mm. You'll find people like you for who you are. Mm-hmm. And who you are is not what you look like.
Right.
That's a part of your body, right? And that's important. But who you are is in here, right? It's in your heart, right? It's your intentions. It's everything you've built yourself up to be. When you hide your eyes, right? When you look away, when you turn away because you don't want people to notice you, you end up forcing people away. You end up making it so other people can't get to know who you are because you're afraid, right? But the problem with that is then the only thing they have to judge you on is your looks. And that's what you're trying to make sure they don't judge you on. So it's backwards. Think about that. If you are afraid of what you look like, and so you avert your eyes, now the only thing they have to see is what you look like. And they are judging you on that because you didn't introduce yourself. You didn't try to smile at them. You didn't try to show them your heart. You only showed them your body. Which is terrible because people are a lot more than their body. People are more than objects. Mm-hmm. But when we don't look people in the eye, we present ourselves as objects. Mm-hmm. So make sure you look people in the eye. And that will go a long way as for how your images, how you look at yourself and how you look at others. Because if you focus on other people, you'll start to notice in yourself, when you look at people in the eye, your attention is drawn to them and you are invested in them. And all of a sudden, you are a lot more beautiful to them and you're paying a lot less attention to yourself. First couple of times you do it, you're going to be paying attention to yourself because you're like, how do I look people in the eye? What's that? That feels weird. Where do I look? Do I look at the left eye or the right eye? Right in the middle? Like in their nose? What? And they're like, I'm okay. Wow, that person has an interesting eyebrow. If you just look people in the eye, eventually you'll get used to doing it, and you won't even think about which eye do I look at anymore, right? it doesn't matter. You'll get so used to it, you'll stop thinking those thoughts, and you'll be able to just invest your time in that person, and that will make them enjoy themselves and enjoy you far more than you could if you didn't look them in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't give them that time, if you didn't give them your eyes. So that's what I wanted to say. Look people in the eyes, and that's gonna help your personal visual image of yourself. And that sounds weird, but it's true. That's what I got.
It is. I have a question for you, Ryan, though, because sometimes, especially getting started looking people in the eyes, it can be pretty scary. I remember going through this, like you look somebody in the eye and all of a sudden it like now you're peering into their soul.
Real.
It does. It does. And so like all of a sudden now it's like, whoa, like I can't, I'm trying to remember how I dealt with that, like how did I start doing that, but it's always a little bit fearful. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, I remember it just being awkward at first.
Yeah.
And then I just, embrace it.
Embrace the
Yeah.
awkward.
I mean, a lot of times in
classic,
life, you're just like, this is
advice.
weird. Yeah. Embrace the awkward. Yeah. I mean, because sometimes you're like, this is weird, but it's not wrong. It's almost distracting and it's hard, but it's the right thing to do. So you just try. I don't know. I remember it was really weird for me at first too, but and it took I think it took I don't remember. I think it wasn't too long that I started to, be effective, and that I was able to start looking at people in the eye. Well, like only maybe a week or 2 weeks. It was fast, which is surprising for someone who's looked away from everybody their entire life, but it didn't take long.
Yeah.
To get into the habit of doing that, which was good. I remember looking at my friend's eyes for the first time and just talking to him. I'm like, this is super weird. What am I doing? Is he gonna notice? He's probably gonna notice I'm looking him in the eye. And he didn't say anything. He didn't notice. But then a couple of weeks later, he said, "Hey, this is gonna sound stupid. Never mind. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna say it. This is gonna sound really stupid. I just want to say, thanks for looking at me in my eyes. I notice everybody looks at me in my mouth, like they stare at my mouth or something. It's really weird. But thanks. Anyways, yeah. I just want to say, when I talk to you, you always look at my eyes. So I don't know. It feels good, I guess."
Better than looking
that was
at
his comment. And I was
somebody's
like,
ear.
yeah, that's right. I have always looked at you in the eyes. No, I literally just started 3 weeks ago. But to him, it appeared that I'd always been doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is amazing. Isn't that amazing? That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
That's awesome.
So
Mia VA says in the chat, as a blind person, body language and eye contact is super difficult, but hey, it's all about attitude and attentiveness. If you aren't comfortable with you, focus on them. And that's probably key to part of the psychology of what Ryan's talking about here. It's really taking your focus off of yourself, because when you go out all self-conscious because you think about the way you look and stuff like that, it's really, it just makes things harder. We kind of encapsulate ourselves into a prison that we make ourselves. And when we start looking out at other people and we take our focus off ourselves and off of our imperfections, of which everybody has imperfections, but when we start caring about that other person, it's amazing how fast we can lose that self-conscious, that feeling that we have. And, we start thinking, you can even do it when you're sitting by yourself. You're not around anybody else. But there are times when I'm sitting by myself and I start to feel a little bit down or, depressed about some area of my life. And I notice that, wait, I'm a little bit self-centered right now. I'm thinking about myself too much. And so really what I need to do is start thinking about other people. And so I'll think about, my kids or my friends or whoever, my brother maybe, I'll think about other people in my life and I'll think about how meaningful they are to me. And then all of a sudden, now my focus isn't on me and my problems. My focus is on other people and, you know, the people around me. Or maybe I'm in a chat with somebody on Discord or something, and, you know, now I'm totally not thinking about myself. I'm thinking about what's going on with them, and it can be really, really cool. But it's crazy because I'm an introvert by nature, and so I resist that. I resist the contact with other people, you know, because I'd rather be by myself. I'd rather be, you know, playing music or whatever, sitting in my computer and, you know, not with other people. But so it gets really easy as an introvert then to start self-focusing. And that leads to depression, and it can lead to more self-critical thoughts, you know, thinking about all the things that I do wrong or all the things that I've done wrong. But the more we can be attentive to others and think about others, take the focus off of ourselves, the better we will feel about all this. And then almost automatically, the more grace we will have with ourselves as we go through this journey. Because as you start this journey of moving toward being healthier, you know, maybe losing some weight, maybe eating, you know, better foods, maybe being more active, you know, all these different things, this is going to be a journey that's going to take time. It's going to take time. I mean, I can remember I was watching YouTube, and I was watching something about celebrities and some of the weird, crazy diets and exercise programs they go on to get ready for certain roles, you know, and stuff like that. And I think somebody called Dwayne Johnson up on the phone and asked him, you know, okay, what do I need to do? I need to look like this for this certain part. And he's like, okay, well, you're going to need about 16 months. And it's going to be this type of a program. So it's like, oh, so there's no shortcut here. No, there's no shortcut. Like, it's going to take time and consistent lifestyle change. And that's okay. So that's why it's way super important to, even while you're in the position that you're in right now, do like Ryan was talking about. Start looking people in the eye. Start thinking of other people. Be attentive to others and love them. Because then it'll make that time go by when you're working through this journey. It'll make it go a lot better while you're going through there. And it can be really awesome. So anyway, Anonymous, thank you so much for that topic. It was tremendous.
Yes.
And
thank you so much.
And I hope some of this is helpful for you. I hope that all the pasta is wonderful. And
Yeah.
I like pasta myself.
I'm a big fan of pasta.
Yeah. What's the pasta? There's this kind of pasta that looks like rice, but it's pasta. Do you know what I'm talking about?
It's macaroni and cheese.
It's not macaroni and cheese.
Every pasta is mac and cheese. I'm not the one who said this,
not.
but every pasta is mac and cheese.
It's wrong.
Yeah, it is. What's Alfredo? It's noodles. Well, it's macaroni and cheese is noodles with cheese. Alfredo is noodles with cheese. Spaghetti, that's noodles with cheese. You put Parmesan cheese on it with meat sauce. Lasagna, that's noodles and cheese, you know? All the pasta is just noodles and cheese.
Noodles with butter on it?
Risotto, yeah, that's the one.
Risotto.
But no, risotto is actually rice.
Is it?
Yeah, risotto is rice that is baked, or not baked, made like a pasta. It can be baked.
You know, there's one kind of pasta I don't like. That's lasagna.
What's that? Really?
I don't like lasagna.
You haven't had the right kind of lasagna, that's it.
I've had the kind of lasagna with the big, wide, floppy noodles.
Okay.
That you're really hungry and you grab it and you get a fork full of it and you end up like with a big bite. And then some of it falls off and one of the noodles flops down on your chin and the sauce is so hot that it burns your chin.
Wow, I've never had that experience. I'm so sorry for you.
You should,
That's a
you
dumb
should-
reason not to like lasagna, but I'm sorry.
I'm sorry that you didn't have tender noodles.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you eat too fast and you're trying to wolf it down. Yes, lasagna
Dang, man.
trauma. Lasagna trauma.
Lasagna trauma. That sounds like. Tell Steve that. Steve will make that a song.
He will. He totally will.
He would.
That's great. Oh, nice. So anyway, all right. Well, thank you for the topic. Let's move to the next one, shall we?
Thank you.
I think
Yeah,
I
let's do
saw.
it.
I think I
Baka
saw.
is here.
I think I saw Baka in here, but we should
Yeah,
let's go through
yeah.
the list real quick.
Let's run through the list.
Hey Ryan, I got a great idea. Let's run through the list.
Princess, tell Joe to run through the list real quick.
Joe, run through the list real quick.
Real quick. Okay, Sevlev, SK,
Thank
awkward.
you. He
Pico,
wasn't
Jesse,
listening to
Chromosome- Huh?
Go on. That was great.
Sevlev, SK, Awkward, Pika, Jesse, Khan, Vulcan, Random, Ian Lamb, Helmarock Hero, Pear, and Baka. And I think I saw Baka here.
Yeah. Abaka has appeared most recently.
Oh, Baka. Baka hit your head and slept for a few hours. Oh my gosh. I hope your head's okay.
Yeah, I said the same thing. He said I'm okay though. So
Nice. Good. Hey, Baka.
cool. Baka box.
Baka, you're here.
Hey.
Joe.exe has stopped working. Uh-oh.
Syntax error. I have to reboot, turn it off and on again.
Ah, yes. Thank you. Joe.chr. What's CHR? If I tried to
Sounds
open
like
a
a
file like that, I'd get a notice
image
on my
file.
computer that says, "What type of program would you want to open this file with?" And then I'd be like, "I don't even know."
Whenever I get those, I always open it up with like a text editor that can
Uh-huh.
handle code. So like a
Uh,
code editor.
Yeah.
And then I look at it and I'm like, okay, I can't always, but sometimes I can figure out what it's supposed to be. By the way, what's really neat, ping or PNG files, right?
Yeah, those are pictures.
They actually start with, those are pictures. If you open up a picture with a text editor, most of the time they actually start with a header that actually says pretty much like, this is a ping. It's like PNG, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh, this is a picture file. Let's convert the CHR whatever to PNG, and then it will open right up for you. It's pretty
Huh.
cool.
That is cool.
Or it might have been JPEG that does that. One of the two. One of the two
them.
does it.
Thanks,
One
Mark.
one of the two has it in its formatting, in its code that it says what it is. That's right. That's what it, Tara. It's almost
Nice.
like Yoshi. You know Yoshi.
Yeah, I know
Bing.
Yoshi. Yeah, he's the one that he can walk on stuff, spiky things.
Oh yeah, he
'Cause he's
certainly
got the
can.
shoes.
He's got big shoes.
Yeah, he's got those
He's got
big
bigger
old
shoes than Sonic the
Yep.
Hedgehog. But
Yep.
they're not as long as Sonic, so just bigger.
And depending on which Mario you're talking about, he'll eat things and then poop out stars.
Or eggs. Or spit them out
Or
and
eggs.
He'll eat things and spit them out as fire.
Yep, that too.
Yep.
Yoshi's cool.
Anyways,
Anyway, let's move on.
Baka.
Baka's here. Let's do Baka's topic, shall we?
yeah.
I think that's a great idea. Hey, Princess has a link. Look at that. I'm going to check it. Checking it twice. Gonna find out if you're naughty or nice. There.
Because Joe is coming to the
Kirby?
link.
Joe's coming to the link
Kirby's awesome.
to bss.studio. So anyway, all right. So you can click either one of those links. Ought to work just fine, and you can read along with Princess.
Mm-hmm. So this is from Baka. It's a friend in pain. My friend just caught her boyfriend cheating on her.
Mm.
I was never someone real interested in relationships and have little to no knowledge on the topic. Now, I hardly see her due to the fact that she's doing online classes due to the pandemic, but I still care for her, and I'm the person who can't let someone go without a smile. I'm at a loss for what I should do to help. I have no knowledge on relationships, but I still want to help. Do you have any advice for me to help my friend? From Baka.
Oh, wow. That is a painful moment. Oh my gosh. And
Yeah.
that can be a really tough thing and a tender thing to have to navigate as a friend. Because sometimes when we get shaken, there isn't anything that anybody in the world can tell us that's going to make us feel better. Sometimes we just have to work through some of these things mentally, and process everything and get through it, and it can be a journey. So a lot of it might depend on how upsetting this whole thing was, how deep their relationship was. There are some different factors involved here, but I think in general, you being present is going to make a huge impact. Even you don't even have to really say anything. Sometimes you may not even have the right thing to say, but the fact that you're there can make all the difference in the world. I'll say this one thing before I turn it over to Ryan, and that is I remember having a friend who he had his son I think his son was 18 or 17 or something like that, and his son died suddenly. There was some kind of a health issue and a medication issue, and there was an interaction there, and his son ended up like really quickly passing away. And I remember calling my friend, and I was like, man, I'm so sorry, and I don't know what I can tell you. I don't know what to say. And he said, Joe, it's not that you have anything to say. It's just the fact that you're here and that you called and you talked to me and you just cared enough to call. That made all the difference. And so sometimes just our presence can be super duper helpful. So anyway, with that, I will turn it over to Ryan. So Ryan, take it away.
Yeah. Yeah, it's never I mean, that's not an easy thing to go through
Mm-mm.
for your friend at all. Absolutely. It's not easy for the cheater to go through, and it's not easy for anybody that knows about it to go through it. This is one of those things where it's like we know, like no matter what your religion is in the world, pretty much all humans agree across the board. You don't cheat on people, right? Like every society in the world pretty much agrees like, yeah, that's a bad idea. That's wrong. I mean, there have been societies in the past where that's not the case. But generally people have that moral compass, right? This is one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's bad enough that pretty much everybody agrees that it's bad, right? It's pretty bad. Here's the thing. The danger here lies with her mental state, right? But it's the way she sees things. It's the danger lies in her perspective. Well, I can't talk. Her perspective. And that is this. If you want to help her navigate her way out of this, the things you have to watch out for her is her disliking herself, her taking this moment where someone did something wrong to her and turning it back inwards and saying, I did something wrong, right? Where she thinks she messed up, where she thinks she might have caused him to, not like her as much, or caused him to, not see her as beautiful or whatever, and is driven away from her and has a relationship with another person, right? A lot of people who get cheated on go through that. They think it's their fault. That's a huge danger, because then not only do they have to suffer through someone wronging them, they end up wronging themselves, right? They end up getting it in their head that they messed up, even though they didn't. And then that becomes an inward struggle for many years to come. I know a couple of people who have been cheated on, and they turn it all inward and make it they weren't good enough. They must have done something wrong. They're not beautiful enough, or they're not they weren't around enough, or whatever, and it's all their fault. And I hope you have the ability and the courage to confront her if you notice anything like that. And that is to basically just say and remind her that, hey, someone else's sin isn't yours. If someone wrongs you, that's their sin, and they have to own up to that. You don't. And there's nothing you can do. The second thing, probably one of the hardest things, is the next step. If she's not mad at herself, which I hope she's not, if she's not mad at herself, this next step is a struggle. In fact, if she's not mad at herself, this next step is even harder for her, because she's not mad at herself, and she's probably mad at him. And that is to forgive. See, if she put all the blame on her, she's probably already forgiven him. But if she puts the blame on him and says, that man messed up, and it's not my fault, and I'm beautiful, there's, I'm me, I haven't changed, and I'm a good person, whatever, right? This person did me wrong. Now her next step is to forgive. And that will come with time. You don't have to rush it. But, I mean, the sooner the better. Here's the thing. Forgiveness heals the wounds, right? When we forgive someone, it's hard, it's a challenge, but especially if they do something terrible to us, it can be really difficult sometimes for certain circumstances to forgive people. But that act is what heals us inside. And if we don't do that, if we don't forgive them, we will never heal inside. We will have a grudge, and that pain will eat at us for the rest of our lives until we die. That constant fear of, if I get in a relationship, that person might cheat on me, so I'm going to avoid that. Or if they get in a relationship, they're always like on edge. Oh, I got to make sure he's not cheating on me. Or, that kind of stuff. Like, I've seen that. I know people that have gone through that, and they suffer with that because they still haven't forgiven, and they still don't trust people because they were wronged once. But not everybody's going to wrong you like that, I mean, everybody makes mistakes. Everyone's going to wrong you at some point, if you're in a relationship with them. But it's not always going to be that they cheat on you. And it's not always going to be so huge of an issue. So what I would do for you, right, is having this knowledge, as Joe said, be there for her. Help her recognize the beauty that she has. Now, I don't mean like, hit on her and tell her she's beautiful. But what I'm saying is treat her like she's a human. Treat her with kindness. Treat her with love that she deserves, right? And as hard as it is, if she wants to talk about the issue, let her talk and lead her to a path of forgiveness. Lead her down that path if you can through your conversation. And you can do that very many different ways. One way that is effective is to third party them. We call them third party. So you third party them is you reference someone who isn't them, and you reference a scenario that seems really close to theirs, and you tell them how that person made it through. Like, I know a friend who did this and it really helped them. And they're like, okay. Then it doesn't feel like they're getting advice from you. It feels like they just heard a story that maybe they can learn something from and they can try to execute themselves. You know, it works really well against people who have any sort of pride or grudges. So, anyways, yes, I would recommend leading them down a path of forgiveness, whatever way that is, through conversation or just being around, being an example of someone who forgives when other people wrong them. I think that's super important. You know, your example that you set is really what guides people and their choices the most, not your words. A lot of times it's the adventure that you go on with your friends and the display of your character that changes their character, right? And so to be there for them, but to be a good example, you don't have to give advice. Show what it is to be a great human. Show what it is to forgive. Show what it is to be holy and just, right? And righteous, etc., right? Show what it is to have virtue to your friend by how you act, how you treat her, and how you treat others, especially, even more than her. Believe it or not, I can be around my friends and I can treat them really nice. But it's when I'm around strangers and my friends are with me, and when I treat those strangers nice, that's what changes my friends. It is. And so the best thing you can do is be an example of what she needs to do to move forward. If she already has all of this figured out, that's awesome. Then all you need to do is let her vent sometimes, and she'll get over all on her own. But being an open ear is just one of the greatest things you can do. You know, oftentimes, no matter who you are, when you're given the chance to give wisdom, you wanna speak. But sometimes the best way to go about it is to hold your tongue and show it. Allow them to find that wisdom so that it connects with them. Not through a story that you share, but the story that they encounter on their own. So that it really sinks in. And just be there to listen when they want to talk about whatever it is, right? But that's my best advice to start with. But I'm gonna move it on to Joe, see what he's got to say.
Yeah. Ryan, I love what you were talking about, and I think that's so true that sometimes, you know, people love to discover things the way that fits them, you know, even more so than people telling us things, right? And it's really interesting. Like I was dealing with this. My wife a while back was finding a different job, and she was starting a different job, and she's like, she went through this period of kind of uncertainty at the beginning of doing this job, and she was talking to me, and she's like, you know, I just don't think this is gonna work. I don't think this is gonna be a fit. I'm like, okay, well, don't do it. Call him and quit. And then she wouldn't, you know, and then, you know, I'm in the back of my mind, I'm sitting there thinking, you know, with what's going on, it would be really helpful. And this job seems like it would fit your life pretty well. And it would be really nice to have that extra income. And, you know, there's like all these things in my brain that are thinking, it would be great if you just gave it a shot for a while, you know? And she just kept saying, I don't think it's going to be a fit. I don't think it's going to be a fit. You know, like this happened, and I had to deal with this on a conference call, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, then quit. Call him up. Tell him you're going to quit. Email him. Tell him you're quitting. And it was so weird because I just, like, for her, she's really stubborn. And so, like, she, like, if I were to tell her, well, you should try and stick it out, she'd automatically not stick it out, right? Just to go against whatever I said. But so it's weird. So I was just like, well, quit. Don't do it anymore. If it's not going to work, don't do it. Find something different, you know? And turns out she's really good at it. She's still doing it. And she likes it now. It's a weird thing. But there are many times that, not just with her, but other people, where I've dealt with them and I've had advice to give people. I've had something where I can see where you're headed, and I can tell that you should be going a certain direction, and and so I'll offer them that advice, and then automatically, because I said it, they don't do it.
Relatable.
You know what I mean? And you know what I discovered? I'm that way.
Yep.
I'm that way too.
Me too.
And exactly. That's part of the human condition. We like to discover things. We like to figure things out on our own. We like to be able to take ownership of things. We like to feel like we conquered something, right? Or found something, or whatever. And so I've kind of taken it upon myself that unless somebody specifically says to me, what should I do in this situation? I don't tell them. Or I try not to. It depends. Some people I have a close enough relationship with, like with Ryan, if we're talking about something on how to guide our company or whatever, we can offer suggestions up, and understand that, hey, you know what? We have that level of respect for each other that says, what this person says, I'm going to, acknowledge with a lot more weight than, just a regular person, So I have that with Ryan. I don't know if Ryan has that with me, but
yes, I mean, it's even more so from me to you.
I don't know about that, but
I love you more than you love me, Joe.
I don't.
I
Think
could be
true.
your mom. Okay, you're right.
You could not be my mom.
That's the last part was definitely not true. Your mom is awesome, though.
She is awesome.
Like your mom.
She is. But first of all, you're younger than me. Second of all, you're not equipped for motherhood, I don't think.
Yeah.
So, but anyway.
You're right.
So here's the thing, though. Like, if somebody's talking to me about something, and I've learned to do this with my wife, and it seems this is one of the things I learned about the difference between guys and girls a lot of times too, is that the way guys handle an issue a lot of times is we internalize it. Now, I know this is an overgeneralization, and I'm sorry, I do not want to offend. It just kind of seems to work this way. And a lot of times when girls are working through a situation, they voice it, right? They talk through it. So like when I'm with my guy friends and we're talking about an issue, it's because we genuinely want to try and figure it out, right? And so we're enlisting our friends' help in trying to figure these issues out. And so like I'll be with Ryan and we'll be talking through an issue. And the reason we're talking about it is because we're trying to solve something about it, right? But when my wife is talking to me, most of the time, she's just expressing it because that's how her mind works through it, right? Now, I know there are certain personality types of guys that are like this too, where they just, they got to talk, and so they talk through the thing. They don't necessarily need advice. They just need to like get it all out into the world so that the act of talking kind of sorts it out for them, right? And so, and my wife is definitely that way. So I've learned, it's taken me lots of years, but I've learned to start not offering a solution when she's telling me about an issue. Because she doesn't want me to answer it. She knows the answer. But this is how she handles it, right? This is how she comes to that conclusion. So as much as you want to offer advice and be helpful, which in your heart, Vaca, I love you. I think this is awesome. I think the fact that you want to help your friend through this situation is a beautiful, wonderful thing. And I think that you can. But like what Ryan was talking about, one of the best ways to do it is to just listen. To just listen and be there. And unless she specifically asks you for some kind of guidance, I wouldn't necessarily offer much guidance. I would just be a loving person and an accepting person. And someone who's not, when someone gets cheated on, like Ryan was saying, it shakes us, man. It shakes our security. We're in a relationship where it's like, and it's a serious relationship. We've built up trust in that relationship, and then all of a sudden, boom, that just all falls out from under us. And we're sitting there like lost, and we don't know who to trust. And so if you can be a person that's solid and trustworthy and loving, and when I say loving, I don't mean romantic loving. I mean loving like real love, which is desiring the best for someone. And I know you've heard us talk about this before, but to desire the best for another person, that's to truly love them. And one of the best things they can have right now is somebody that they can trust, because their trust has been so shaken. And now here's the thing. She might have to go through some emotional, she might have to work through some emotional baggage in this situation. I mean, only naturally we expect that, right? I mean, this is an emotionally traumatic experience. She might have some stuff, to go through and to vent and to say, and it might come out. It might even seem like it's directed at you sometimes. She might have to spout off and, just let off some steam, and you might be the person that's there when she's doing that. And your job is to not get angry back. Your job is to listen. Rise above that emotion. And understand, this is an emotional response. In your head, you don't have to say this to her, but just think to yourself, okay, this is emotion. It's expected. It's okay. She may even be directing it at you, but deep down, she probably doesn't mean it. This is if she comes across as like, yelling at you. That's one of the dangers of being in this position. Like, if you're going to be that confidant with somebody, then you kind of expose yourself to some abuse sometimes. I can remember there have been some really rough times that I've been through, that my wife and I have been through, and stuff like that. And then there have been times when she just is yelling and yelling and yelling, and I'm like starting to get defensive, and I'm like, why? And one time, in a moment of clarity and lucidity, she says, well, it's because you're solid. And so I know I can say things like this because you're solid. And at the moment, I didn't really feel all that solid. I felt kind of like I'd been beaten down into the dirt, right, by words. And I'm just like,
A wet noodle.
Really? Yeah, exactly. I felt like that lasagna noodle flopped down on the chin, somewhere.
Yeah. Steaming hot.
Steaming hot, boiling lasagna noodle. And
That's right.
and she goes, she's like, it's because you're my rock. You are the person. So because I know you can handle it. And I'm like, okay. And then in the moment, I'm like, oh, this sucks. But then I'm like, later, I thought, that's actually a very cool thing. That even though I don't necessarily feel strong all the time, she perceives me as that, strong enough to handle her venting. And so that might be the position you're working yourself into here. If you're going to help, then you might expose yourself to some of this verbal violence. And it's okay. Your job is to remain solid. Understand it's just an emotion. It'll pass. But she needs somebody there to work through this, probably. And for you to be willing to be that person is amazing, Baka. And I applaud you and your desire to do this. And I hope that, you can find a way. But the best way to start is to just be there. And to not judge. To listen and not necessarily contribute. She'll probably have things to say about bad mouthing this other person, which, totally justifiable. And I had a friend who said, sometimes I just nod and smile. So you can, probably the best thing is to not necessarily get into the habit of continuing the bad mouthing of another person, to kind of get involved and commiserate and start, saying bad things about them, because that's just going to make the situation, that's going to deepen the pain, right? So if you can, but at the same time, you don't want to, defend them because what they did was wrong too. So your job may be to not say much of anything except for, man, I understand. I know. That's hard. Different things like that where you're not necessarily joining into the bad mouthing, but you're not disagreeing because, yes, this is a very hurtful time. So anyway, I feel like I'm starting to go into random directions. So I'm going to turn it over to Ryan again. Ryan, take it away. And
yeah, no, I mean, right on. Thanks.
Save us all from me.
Okay, you're good. I don't think I need to do that. So it's your show now.
Did you just leave?
Leaving. Yep. No, it's Baka says, I know both like music and shared this. Oh, I know we both like music and share the song It's On Us by AJR. Oh, AJR. Nice. There's quite a few people who enjoy my music who also enjoy AJR, so it's cool.
I don't know if I've heard AJR.
Yeah, it's pretty cool music. Pretty chill, if you will. Not like super chill, but
chill, if you will.
More chill than what I usually listen to, like power metal and stuff. Anyways,
but power metal's so chill.
So, yeah, I know power metal is really chill. So, anyways, back to the topic. I'm continuing the page. Joe kind of left off on. It is super important to kind of be able to gauge the conversation. You want what's best for her. So just as Joe was saying, if you notice she wants to gossip, don't give it to her. Because as good as it can, like, you want to calm someone down, right? They're upset or whatever, right? And you're trying to calm them down. One of the easiest ways to do that is to agree with them. but that doesn't mean it's always the right thing to do.
Mm.
There are other ways to calm people down than to agree with them. You know, when someone's like, they did this wrong to me and they blah, 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 it can feel really good to be on their page with them and be like, yeah, they're such a terrible person, blah, 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 blah. It makes them feel good inside because it makes them feel justified. And it fuels that anger fire that just fills their whole body with emotion. And that kind of feels good to them. And that's really steering them in the wrong direction because you want them to be able to get over it. And when you just keep on fueling that fire, you're just prolonging the period and adding more fuel to that hate and that inability to forgive, right? And remember, this is super crucial, so I'm going to say it because not everybody knows, and it bears repeating. Forgiveness is not looking at something and saying, it's fine. What they did was okay. Like, it's all right. Because that's not forgiveness. Forgiveness is looking at what it is and seeing the reality, like, what they did is not okay. Right? It's acknowledging the truth that what they did was not okay. But it's choosing to say, they don't owe me anything. I don't need a revenge. I don't need them to pay me. I don't need a comeback. In fact, it's impossible anyways. They can't undo what's already done. Right? The damage is done. There's no undoing it. There's only healing. You know, when you get hurt, you don't fix it by reversing time. When you get hurt, your body has natural mechanisms to repair. But you got to treat the wound, and sometimes treating it means pain. Right? Sometimes you have to put rubbing alcohol on it. It hurts. Sometimes you have to change your bandages out. It hurts. Right? And that's part of the healing process. Some part of healing is pain. But, you know, to forgive is like I said, it's not saying what they did was okay. So make sure she understands that. You know, you can talk about it. You don't have to talk about it in the issue of like, hey, you need to forgive him. You know, she'll if you think she'll come to that on her own, then you don't need to say it. But it is important to describe what forgiveness is. Because a lot of people have the wrong idea about it. A lot of people believe that if I forgive them, then it's like saying what they did was okay. But it's not.
No.
What they did was not okay. But you're choosing to take the reality, because the reality is anyways, they can't undo it. But you're choosing to say, they don't owe me. And I don't need revenge. And they can be a better person. That was an experience that we both experienced together. But that doesn't make them who they are. We need to make sure we don't label people as a cheater. Because they cheated on you. Sure. It's very wrong. But that's not all they are. Right? There's much more to them, and they have potential to change. It's important to know that. And it's important to give them that chance. Because unless you do, that will eat at you for the rest of your life. And that is not a good place for you. Forgiveness is more, as odd as it is, forgiveness is more for yourself than it is for the other person. But repentance actually is both. It's for both. When you repent, you're saying, hey, I messed up and I don't ever want to do it again. And I'm going to work towards making sure that doesn't happen again. Right? That's repentance. And that's super important. And forgiveness is saying, I admit that was wrong, but I'm not going to hold it against you because I want to see you improve. You know, sometimes forgiveness can come with punishment, believe it or not. Sometimes in some cases, a parent will punish their child after they've already forgiven them.
In fact, that's the best time to do
because
it
they want
because
the
then
lesson.
you're not in anger. To punish a child in
Yes,
anger
exactly.
is dangerous.
Absolutely. Right. Right. So, I don't know. I'm just filling you with this information in case it comes up across in a conversation, because you're not the one going through it, but you're the one that's going to have to bear it. And so having a clear mind when it comes to this, just like Joe said, sometimes they might be mean at you. And you have to understand, like, hey, it's not because they're mad at me. It's because they're mad at their situation that they went through. They're having emotional turmoil. Of course, they're going to be freaking out and get angry.
Mm-hmm.
That's natural.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my job to listen. You're going to have to be able to gauge sometimes and throughout life, figure out what people can handle certain things. Like there are people that I know that I talk to, and there are people I just like, no, I don't give advice to them. I just listen because they're not going to want my advice. But that's okay. They can live or experience my example. Hopefully that I set a good one. And then there are people that I know that will be immediately wanting my advice, right? But you have to kind of gauge the person's pride. You have to gauge the person's emotional standards, etc. And it takes some getting used to people, but you'll get there. It's not too hard. At some point, you'll figure out, okay, I can see that this is the kind of person that I need to just hold my tongue and let go. You know, they'll figure it out eventually. And that's the thing you got to trust in people is people are going to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of time. And it's about making that time short as possible for them by being the person, whatever you need to be. But, you know, as Joe said, you just got to love on them, you know, desire the best for them and help lead them in that direction. And I think you got this, you know, Baka, you're really smart.
Mm-hmm.
You're very kind. You have a huge heart. And that huge heart will automatically start leading her down the right path,
Mm-hmm.
right? Make sure you don't hold a grudge against the person. Like, I'm sure you're upset too, right? Naturally, you are. You're like, this person cheated on my friend. How could I ever forgive them? Baka, make sure you forgive them so that you can help her forgive, so that she can get better in case she's not forgiving,
Mm-hmm.
in case she's the kind of person that might hold a grudge.
Mm-hmm.
You need to help her with that. But in order to help her, you have to forgive him too.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know that can be hard, but you have to. So yeah, you know, my mom, she got married, and then she got divorced because he was a crazy, angry alcoholic,
Mm-hmm.
and that wasn't good. Her next marriage, several years later, he cheated on her. This was the person I was talking about last week, with the possible person who might have burnt down our house.
Oh yes, yes,
Um,
yes. Okay.
Before that happened, before their divorce, my mom suspected him of cheating and then caught him cheating.
Mm-hmm.
And it was extremely difficult for her because she lived in the same house as this person.
Mm-hmm.
They were married.
Mm-hmm.
And there were many issues. One of them was he didn't care. He didn't stop when he got caught.
Mm.
And it was hard for my mom. I've never, ever in my life, before or after, ever seen her so emotionally broken.
Mm-hmm.
She had gone in depression. And here's the thing. My mom had a hard life. Literally, this is going to sound like it's made out of a fairy tale, but this is true. My mom, when she was little, when she was like, man, how young was she? Like 6 or 9 or something. Her mom died and her dad got remarried. And her dad and her new mom, stepmom, forced her and her brother to live in the basement. They had kids and they weren't allowed to see the kids. So the mom and dad had kids and they were not, like, my mom and her brother were not allowed to like talk with them, right? They were not allowed to go upstairs. The only time they were allowed to go upstairs was to eat dinner and then go immediately back downstairs. They were never taught to brush their teeth. and maintain their hygiene. So when they went to school, they were made fun of a lot. They didn't take showers. They didn't know any better. Okay. And that was my mom's life growing up. That's terrible. And it took many, many years for my mom to forgive her father and her mother, but she has, and they have a great relationship now, right? It's awesome. It's a beautiful relationship. They love each other, and they did apologize sincerely from the bottom of their heart. They recognized what they had done was wrong, and they are sorrowful that they had put my mom and her brother through that. My brother, or her brother, I mean, had a lot harder time forgiving. In fact, he still holds a little bit of a grudge there, and it shows in the relationship. And because he holds that small grudge, it makes it so that the mom can't even forgive him back, or not forgive him, but feel repentant enough. Like there is still a struggle there. And that was her upbringing, right? That sounds crazy. And yet someone cheating on her was more traumatic. That's incredible to me. That's insane to me. But I 100% believe it. And I know it because I saw it firsthand. But that's the pain that cheating on people, makes people feel. So I understand how hard this can be, right? I've seen it. But here's the thing. My mom's a tough cookie, and she's a good woman. And it took her a long time, but she forgave him. And that's when she got over it. A lot of times we just like let time pass, and then when we're over it, we forgive, we're like, oh, it doesn't bother me anymore because time has passed. But in her case, it wasn't like that. She was downright depressed, and she had to walk herself through it. And by the way, the fire wasn't too far after that. So it was hard for her for a long time. But she sought out God, and God was her way to help direct her in the right direction to get out of that mental state. Because God is one who forgives. And by his example, she emulated that example. And that's how she got through it. So if your friend is by any chance religious, urge her to seek God in prayer and follow his example of forgiveness. His charitable, generous, gratuitous amounts of mercy and forgiveness, because without that, right? Like literally we could not have relationships, because we all cheat on each other one way or another. We all break each other's hearts. We all make mistakes. We all do things wrong on purpose from time to time. Without forgiveness, no friendship can hold, because you have one thing happens and then boom, I'm not your friend anymore. Well, then what kind of friendship is that? It's not a friendship. You cannot have a friendship without forgiveness. You cannot have humanity without forgiveness. And so it's so important and crucial that she can come to forgive, even if it's not immediately. You don't have to try to force her or push her, because that's not going to work. But help her to gradually come to that conclusion and start to work towards that herself, because that's the main thing. But yeah, I know I talked for a while, so I'm done. And I'm sorry for the really intense story, but yeah.
Well, it's very, very fitting and very true. Forgiveness, like you said, Ryan, forgiveness is to heal the person who has been offended. So like
Yes.
somebody wrongs us, the way that we heal is to forgive them, regardless of whether they repent or not. Now, if
you don't have to wait for their repentance.
Right, exactly. We don't have to wait for them to say they're sorry. We can forgive, because that's what helps us to let go and to heal from the thing. When we do something that hurts another person, the way that we heal is to repent of that, to understand it was wrong, and to admit that it was wrong, and to, maybe we need to try to make reparations, whatever. But it's so funny because our culture seems to have that backwards. You know, even even recently, my wife and my oldest son, they were having an argument, and I asked my wife, I was like, "So you gonna forgive him?" She's like, "Well, I don't know. Is he gonna say he's sorry?" And I'm like, "Well, that's regardless. That's beside the point. He needs to say he's sorry for him because
Mm-hmm.
so he can heal, right? Because he was
That's
out of
right.
line. You know, he's mouthy and did some stuff wrong and everything like that. Like his repentance is not for my wife to heal. His repentance is for him to heal from it and to grow
So you can
from
become
the
a better
experience.
person.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
But when somebody hurts us, the path to healing is forgiveness. It's so strange. I remember working through this issue with a priest. He handed me this program, Healing the Whole Person by the John Paul II Institute. And I went through this whole big, long program, right? Bunch of audios and workbooks and stuff like that. And it really dug up a lot of past hurts that I had not dealt with. But what they had done, when we hold on to those hurts, we kind of build walls around our heart and we can't be genuine. We find ourselves caught in cycles of wrong behavior, you know, patterns of wrong behavior because, you know, we haven't forgiven these hurts that other people have done to us. And so because we build up
We're afraid of getting hurt
defenses.
again.
Yeah, so we don't want
Mhm.
to get hurt. So we build up a defense, and then that wall becomes a prison, and then we're trapped. And the only way out is through forgiveness, and that was hard. I mean, we were digging up stuff from 25, 30 years ago, and it was painful. I remember reliving some experiences of just like sitting in the hall in my high school, like in a little staircase. I'll never forget this, you know, sitting in a little staircase, just weeping in 7th grade over something that somebody had done to me. And that was one of those defining moments of where I had built up a wall and decided nobody's going to hurt me like this again. And that was a wall I built up. Now, since going through there, I've also found other ones from even before, like from when I was even younger, where I had made a decision. Nobody's going to hurt me like this again, and built up a wall. And what it does is it leads to patterns of self-destruction. The only way out of that is forgiveness. And sometimes we have to the best time to forgive is when we're going through the throes of the issue. So like right now, like while she's handling this issue, while it's right fresh, that's the best time to deal with it. Because if she puts up a wall and, you know, it leads to that imprisonment, you know, she's going to, you know, it's going to turn into a pattern of self-destruction over time. And then in order to be free of it, she'll have to go back and relive it and forgive in that moment again, right? So we kind of have to re-experience that pain and remember the hurt and forgive in the hurt. And so it's always best to do it while we're in it, you know. So yeah, but to have that understanding, it makes me so it what's the word? It surprises me so much that we have that so backwards. We think in order for me to forgive somebody, they need to say they're sorry. You know? And for me, and my forgiving them is me letting them off the hook. It's me being ever so gracious to them, and they're going to feel better as a result. No. Forgiveness is so I can free my own heart from that thing that this person did to me. What does it say? The saying is,
Yeah.
unforgiveness is like drinking poison, expecting the other person to die. I think is the saying I
Yeah.
heard once. Like,
Yeah.
like, I'm so mad at you. Glug, 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 glug. Now die. Right? Like,
Yeah.
sorry, you were about to say something, Ryan.
Oh yeah. Well, one interesting thing about forgiveness is you forgiving someone is an act which is glorifying and holy. What I mean to say is when you forgive, you don't just patch the wound so that it can heal. When you forgive, you open your heart
Mhm.
to allow the possibility of someone wronging you again.
Mhm.
But now what you've done is you strengthen your heart in that area, not build up a wall to keep pain from coming in, but opened it up, but made it stronger. You've
Mhm.
taken, and instead of a wound just healing to normal, that wound has created something even more than what it used to be, a strength, a glorifying, holy, pure light, right? Like it's hard to define, but imagine if every time, in a video game you got cut, it's Dragon Ball Z, in Dragon Ball Z, when the person gets hurt, they come back stronger every time. you know, that's kind of like how forgiving works. When you forgive, you take a chunk of you that was removed, that pain, and then you heal that and it becomes better than it was even before. Because when you recognize you're strong enough to take it again, that's huge, right? Like, oh, this person just broke my trust, but I'm not going to stop trusting other people just because this person did it.
Mhm.
I might say I'm going to trust you with a little less because, obviously that would be unwise for me to give you my money now. But I'm not going to put up a wall against all of society. I'm not going to put up a wall against myself.
Mhm.
Instead, I'm going to realize, hey, that person just wronged me, and yet here I still stand. What am I, invincible? No, you're not invincible, kids. But you
don't,
are.
don't eat batteries.
Don't eat batteries. Don't eat batteries. Don't stop. You gotta stop eating the Tide Pods. And anyways, you start to recognize that you are capable of weathering the storm that it takes to be in relationships, and that's going to make you better at relationships.
Mhm.
So forgiveness is a mysterious miracle that works within us, pretty much. Like it goes beyond understanding, it goes beyond what makes sense, but it is real. It goes beyond what we understand or can see in the physical world around us, but it's real because through our own experiences, we've noticed that if you think about times in your past where you've forgiven people, you've recognized you are much stronger in those areas now. And you are willing to take whatever beating comes your way in those areas, and you won't build up a wall because you don't need it. You can take it, and you're more successful because of it. Because you weren't hiding away. You were putting yourself out there and moving forward, taking more steps, and you are not only stronger, but farther ahead in life because you're willing to forgive. So forgiveness is a miraculous gift. It's hard to explain, but I think you understand. You make good out of what was evil. You make holy out of what was evil, and that's a beautiful thing.
Mhm.
Anyways, we've run our time, so
We
I
have.
want to give it back over to Joe for him to close it down
Well, thank you, Ryan,
or
and
make any
thank you.
further comments.
Oh no, I think we would do well to leave it right there. That was beautiful. Baka, thank you so
You're
much for
beautiful.
the topic. Ah, thanks,
Yeah,
Ryan.
seriously, thank
You're
you.
beautiful.
I hope you have a huge heart. I hope that you can help your friend, and I hope that they get over it quick
Hmm.
because it's not easy.
Hmm. Yep. Choices we make, consequences we take. I don't know where to go with this. I just thought of it randomly. It's very true. Everything we do, something happens as a result. It's true,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And a lot of times something happens in us. We don't think that. A lot of times we think, hey, I'm going to do this thing and nobody's going to know about it. But it might be damaging us. It might be leading us down a path that can be hurtful to us. And so one of the things Ryan always has said, and I'll leave it here, and that is that to pursue a life of virtue, and you can look up different virtues, just Google virtues. You'll find a whole bundle of them, and you can pick one and start trying to get better in that area. That is a pathway to happiness. Because it's a pathway to a clear conscience. And it can help you feel a lot better. So I hear you clapping. Somebody's clapping.
I'm not.
Maybe it was Princess.
Huh?
It stopped. I heard this. Oh, it's your thumb.
Yeah, my thumb was tapping my fingernails with my ring, and it was making that sound. Sorry.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah, it's
like
exactly like
Benjamin
Benjamin
Franklin. Yep.
You got it.
He had
That's the one.
the 13 virtues that Benjamin Franklin went. Yep. He got better at one. He picked one every week, I think. And he was just like, okay, I'm going to get better at this one this week. And then I'm going to get better at this
Man,
one
he's
this
fast.
week. And yeah, well, he didn't
Dang.
get perfect at it in
I
a
would
week.
just-
It's just-
It'd take me like a month to move on to the next one. Maybe more.
I'm going to master this one this week. Right?
Yeah, this week, boom.
Yeah,
Check
probably
me
not.
out.
No, it takes some time. You can spend your whole life in pursuit of a life of virtue, and you will never
That's right.
quite get to the point of attaining them perfectly. There's always room for improvement, and you will feel better and be stronger as a result. It's amazing.
I think the better way to say that is there's an infinite amount of growth possible.
Yes. That's
Because then
a
you sound
great
like
way to say
I'm
it.
striving for perfection. It's just there's so much that you can constantly grow at. It's like just like there's not technically a perfection. There's just an infinite amount of ability that one can possess.
That's right. So you can go to infinity and beyond.
And beyond. Just like
Buzz Lightyear.
Chuck Norris.
Buzz Lightyear. Chuck
Oh,
Norris.
that's who it was. I know it was Buzz Lightyear.
Oh, nice. So anyway, thank you guys so much for being
Chuck
here.
Norris did it though.
He did it, and he did it for real. He went to infinity and beyond. He didn't just say it.
Yeah,
Buzz Lightyear said it.
Because he punched to infinity and beyond because he can do that
That's right.
with his beard fist.
Yes, that's right. So thank you guys for being
Awesome.
here. If you have any topics, there's the link that was in the chat earlier. You can post it on our website, bss.studio. Actually, you know what? Let's see if I can get the link. Let me see. It's going to take me a second. Let's see. This is the one right here. You know the one.
You know the one.
This is the one. I think that's the one.
This is the one.
You know the one. Yep, you can post it in the chat. You can send us an email, dww@bss.studio. That's dww@bss.studio. Find us on Discord. You can direct message myself or Ryan or Princess. We are on there, and yeah, we'd love to talk to you and help in any way we possibly can. We love you guys. We'll see you next Wednesday on Don't Worry Wednesday. In the meantime, keep having an awesome life. If you guys are on spring break, I know a lot of people are right now. Be awesome. Have a great time. And we will see you next week right here on Don't Worry Wednesday. So take care, you guys. Love you.
And
Oh,
thank
look
you
at
for
all
your
these
support.
people
We couldn't
showing
do
up
the
right
show
there.
without you.
What was that?
Thank you for your support. We couldn't have the show without you.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
It's true.
Yep, we totally couldn't. I mean, we could do a show without you guys, but man, that would
It would be
Yeah, we
a
would
show.
it
just
would
ramble.
not
Wouldn't
be
this
much of a show.
show.
Yeah, it'd be like one time deal. One night only.
Yeah, there would be a reason no one
You
would be
turn
there.
into Theology Thursday or something, but
We
on
to-
Wednesday.
We totally could.
Yeah.
Look at all these people. Man, we had a bunch of people lurking, it looks like. Bunch of people coming in
Yeah.
and saying hi at the end. That's awesome. You guys
Oh,
rock.
man.
So,
Thank you all.
yes. So thank you guys. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Peace, as Ryan says. You're waiting for me to turn it off, aren't you?
Are you still going?
Yeah, still going. I'm still
You're
waiting.
lying to me. You've already turned it off.
I
You're just
didn't turn it
waving
off.
for no reason. You want to see if you can get me to wave.
Oh, he's still going.
You're not gonna wave. Yeah. See, Princess is watching the YouTube.
I
She
did.
knows.
Okay, fine.
I'm waving.
All right,
Nobody
here's a
can
heart,
see
guys.
it.
Hey,
Here's a heart.
that's what I was
love you
waiting
guys.
for. See you guys later.